Traditional social media is built on a specific architectural assumption, the infinite flat graph. In this model, every connection you make is structurally identical to the last and expands outward without end. The human brain has strict cognitive limits on how many people it can meaningfully track. We are not evolved to process an infinite sea of equally weighted relationships. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar identified these limits by mapping how human social networks naturally organize into distinct stratified layers based on emotional closeness. We maintain a small core of intimates surrounded by progressively larger groups of decreasing familiarity. When digital platforms flatten these layers into a single, unweighted list, they create a biological mismatch between the software architecture and the human user's natural capacity for connection. A new application called DunbarrioSolo attempts to resolve this mismatch. It actively abandons the infinite feed in favor of explicit, rigid constraints. Instead of optimizing for engagement volume, the platform takes peer-reviewed social network science and encodes it directly into its database and user interface. The interface is built around orbital rings. Contacts are contained within specific groups, labeled here as family or home slices, which forces a structural hierarchy from the moment a user signs in. It functions as an applied science experiment, testing what happens when software architecture mirrors the stratified nature of human sociology. This model begins with an inner core of 5 people, stepping outward to layers of 15, 50, and 150. A 2024 Royal Society paper formalized this hierarchy, finding a consistent scaling ratio of 3 between each layer. As the network expands by a multiple of 3 in each step, both the frequency of contact and the depth of emotional intimacy predictably decline. Standard digital platforms ignore this decay, employing algorithms designed to maintain high-frequency engagement with every contact regardless of which layer they inhabit. To function as a valid relational tool, software must account for this mathematically proven degradation in intimacy as relationships move toward the outer layers of the circle. The application enforces Dunbar's concentric framework by requiring users to organize their contacts into rigid, vertically constrained lists called circles. The database is built with a fixed architectural ceiling. The maximum capacity is capped at 16 circles, with exactly 9 slots available per circle. This creates a hard system limit of 144 total relationships. This number mirrors Dunbar's predicted cognitive limit of 150. By preventing infinite scalability, the application forces users to make deliberate choices about who occupies their limited cognitive space. The rigid database schema effectively converts a biological cognitive limit into a literal boundary within the overall user experience. To understand the network's health, the core metrics must shift from flat interaction frequency to weighted emotional investment. A 2025 study in PLOS 1 identified a phenomenon called energy allocation heterogeneity. We do not invest in people equally. We pour disproportionate effort into a few core relationships, while our investment in the middle layers is highly variable. In network science, a social map is defined not just by who populates it, but by the specific effort required to maintain each connection. The application captures this by requiring users to manually input the intensity of each interaction. This vertical slider allows a user to record the exact emotional weight they are bringing to a specific moment. Manually logging these intensity values attaches a specific weight to each entry, allowing the system to mathematically track the highly uneven distribution of a user's emotional attention across their entire network. This investment data is visualized in the ledger. The activity heat map plots the frequency of daily acts over 12 weeks. The system builds this record by binding specific actions and intensity values directly to a targeted circle and member. By plotting these recorded values against the rigid circle architecture, the user can see the actual directional flow of their relational effort. This visualization often highlights neglected middle layer relationships, those between the core 5 and the outer 50, that have received little to no attention. The ledger acts as a record of habits, showing exactly when a user's perceived emotional energy investment severely misaligns with where their time and attention are actually going. This data is synthesized into the weekly weave. As this text shows, the AI scans the ledger to identify patterns, specifically flagging people like Lena who have been absent from the user's entries. The AI layer is designed to scan for structural anomalies predicted by network science frameworks, such as a core circle that has become inactive. By surfacing these patterns in a narrative format, the application prompts the user to re-evaluate their engagement with neglected relationships. By combining a fixed network topology with tracked energy levels, the platform provides a record of relational effort that highlights where a user's social habits deviate from their intended priorities. Most social platforms optimize for the largest possible network at the lowest possible interaction cost. This approach prioritizes a smaller, bounded network, where every interaction is quantified by its emotional weight. The primary insight for software design is that technology built to support human connection must respect the architecture of the human brain. A bounded digital ecosystem creates a fixed perimeter, allowing the network to reach equilibrium, where social circles rotate in a balanced, manageable system. The future of successful social product design lies in applying stratified constraints that match our natural capacity for care.